Alright, welcome back to Equal Footing. And we have Warlock in the yellow trunks as the Greeks up against Eshwar in the red trunks as Persia. So Eshwar going to go for the fast barracks. Warlock also going to go for the fast barracks. So our players going for that hunt, killing all the deer with their scout, and getting the 3 starting villages to gather an extra 50 wood, and going for the barracks. So this is sort of the most conventional of the rush openings that you'll see, because you can transition into a standard macro game behind it and deal your damage, force your opponent off the hunt if they're not going for the same thing as you, or they don't commit as well to the spears. Eshwar finding another gold mine, just sort of looking for another hunt as well. Yeah, pretty much once you find 2 or 3 hunts, 2 or 3 golds, and just go and scout your opponent. Warlock a little bit slow with his scouting pattern today, so this might be to Eshwar's advantage, because Warlock's going to have no idea where Eshwar's hunt is. Eshwar's going to find Warlock's relatively quick here. I think he's going to know if there's a wood here, there's probably a hunt protected by another wood behind it, so he will see this fairly quickly. It's a nice spot for Warlock to defend here, though. While Eshwar's hunt is a little bit more approachable by Warlock. Warlock, once again, hasn't been able to actually see it yet. He's been a little bit slow with his initial scouting. Eshwar on point in every aspect of the game so far. Just how you need to be if you want to win games, guys. At least at this level. Lower levels you can just do whatever the hell you want, and if you do it with enough intent, you'll probably win. You didn't hear that from me, though. So a little bit of damage being done to Eshwar's scout there. Warlock smart to fight with 3 spears rather than letting Eshwar actually chip away at 1 and take off a more significant amount of health than 4 for 88 damage. Players just massing up the units. Eshwar just waiting to see how much Rahani's going to invest in spears here. Both players just continuing to produce the Age 1 military and add houses. Both 7 or 8 villages on the food for them both at the moment. Be 8 for our Greeks player. 45 versus 7 for our Persia player. Warlock chilling. I think he's a bit unaware that Eshwar's actually going to try and go for the kill here. He's just a bit indecisive at the moment. Doesn't know if he wants to put pressure on or sit back and defend. But he is quick to respond here in saving these guys. But these other villagers, he's actually going to let one fall here. This is not ideal for him. Didn't manage to select the whole group and get them out of here. So Warlock is going to lose storehouse here. And that's a terrible spot for those sheep to be. They really should be right here. He's going to incur a bit more walk time than he needs to. Meanwhile, he is actually pushing himself. I don't think he's managed to get any villages of Eshwar's. 19 vills to 17. So Eshwar up by nearly 2 whole villages at the moment. Warlock actually going for the age up. Eshwar is struggling a little bit for the food, but things are starting to normalize for him now. But he is going to have to look at going for his age up eventually here. This Warlock seems to be quite safe at the moment, although Eshwar, these Spara are pretty much unmatched this early on in terms of their ranged health. I can even look at trying to harass a house and force repairing like he has been doing. Warlock trying to push Eshwar now. Eshwar saving some really low villages, so some really tiny micro by him there. But he's also going to have to evacuate these guys. He does have the option of getting aid tent and healing all these low units up, whereas Greeks don't have that luxury. And it may come more into play later on as this game goes on, once Eshwar takes that tech and then the players start raiding one another. But he's got this storehouse in the middle of nowhere. He can probably just delete. So I think he'll realise once he's actually cleaned up this villager. It's just outside of his field of view here. He's going to go for a forward town centre here. So 35 to 26 pop. Rahani actually struggling for food at the moment because there is a couple of Spire here. Slowing down the gathering. So 19 to 23 Vils. Eshwar starting to creep ahead. Warlock getting that town centre. So handsaw on the way here for Eshwar. Warlock, no eco techs yet. Hunting dogs also on the way, and conditioning. Warlock not really producing anything other than villages at the moment. 12 on food though. Eshwar scouting him out. Warlock going to try and harass, but it'll be a little bit too slow. The town center's finished. And the Spara actually outnumbering his spear count at the moment. Eshwar going to start Bowman Spara production once again. Try and go for a push on Warlock here. Warlock honestly probably could have just gone for it there. I don't know why he's actually stopped. He's just defending this, but he really probably could go in on that. At the same time, Eshwar is going to try and pick off this last food gatherer. So that's well timed by Warlock to pull out of there. Well, Eshwar also doing a good job at retreating here. Does have some bowmen in tow here, so these guys will be able to make light work of these spears. Warlock going to try and retreat, but he's going to lose a lot of them. While the Spara punishing his food gathering. Warlock, ooh, Warlock's not actually got these guys gathering, they're just sort of chilling. It's not ideal, it's costing him gather time when he really needs the food for double villager production at the moment. Eshwar also actually struggling slightly with the Vil production with the food here. He is going to want to get a little bit more food so he can get Asabara in the mix as well. I mean, adding the Spara and the Spears going to be handy if Warlock's able to get a good number of Sarasopheroi, but he may also just be trying to get his own Bowman, his own Toxotes out, and some Hypers, so villager over here eventually was going to throw up a storehouse. Eshwar just short on the wood, so he's going to do, try and start distance gathering. He'll park the villager there till he gets the wood. He's ultimately able to save the Vil, and he can send a full health one later to do the same job. So both our players... Oh, Eshwar hasn't even got Loom yet. Crazy bugger. So Eshwar's been defending this whole game without Loom. So even more impressive. He's 3 Vils ahead, 2 Vils ahead. But Army Pop really favouring Eshwar at the moment. Looking to just go for it. Very defensive position here by Warlock, and he's adding his stables now, so he's going to be up to 3 military production buildings, but Eshwar's going to start producing from a 4th. Getting a 2nd barracks just to make sure no amount of these Saris are going to stop him. He's going to be able to defend his Bowman Ball really well here, and just snipe units around the edge here. Maybe I would even move into about here. But I wouldn't really want to park anything between the 2 town centers, because the Bowmen don't really have a huge health pool, don't have a lot of pierce armor. Eshwar actually baiting Warlock in to sticking around there and copying a bit of damage. Meanwhile, he's also well aware that Warlock's going to need to keep expanding here. He's going to run out of food eventually. All these villagers are going to get picked off here. So Warlock, quick to retreat, very swift defense there from him, but he does lose a villager. Does lose the opportunity to gather from there. So he'd be feeling the pressure right now. Eshwar getting wheelbarrow now. Warlock hasn't taken the tech yet, so very handy because it gives you villagers a bit of speed so they can actually get from A to B a bit faster. It does actually benefit your gathering, but also really benefits saving villagers when you've got to run. And the carry capacity also is nice too. So Warlock's trying to clean up this little pocket of units. But in the meanwhile, there's so much over here from Warlock that it does free up Eshwar to try and actually siege something here. Kill a lot of these villagers, or just wipe out this army straight onto the town centre. So Warlock's not going to be able to keep tabs on everything. He may lose a few more villagers throughout all this. But there is a nice garrison there from Warlock before he takes too much damage. So Eshwar is going to have to back off here and mass up a little bit more. Get shield rim, which he's got on the way. So that'll be his first armory tech here. So there's not a lot of players that actually opt for damage, armor techs over damage techs. So I commend you for doing that, Eshwar. You're going to get a lot of spears. Continue to produce bows. He is even going to make a few Asabara still. Only has the 1 stables. 2 rangers and the 2 barracks. 3 rangers, sorry. It's a monster. So he's going to want to get more armory upgrades through this as well. But he is struggling to get the gold to do so. Warlock in the meanwhile, even with 24 vills on wood, still not quite able to gather everything he wants. He also has a good number of ranges here. But he is down in terms of production. He's going for that 3rd range now, but Eshwar's had his for a little while. Sari's going to get cleaned up there. Warlock in the meanwhile going to be able to pick off one of these Sparrow, but it's a bit of a bait, I think. Warlock having to take all these villagers out, but now Eshwar doubles back so the Asabara can support against the Tox. He can wipe out Warlock's backline, while the Saris going to try and chase the bows around. Eshwar doing well, considering he doesn't really have a lot of infantry here. So not a lot of the bowmen actually falling there. Warlock actually sending some Tox out of the fight as well, while Eshwar's managing to fight with the whole army at once. So he's doing a good job at keeping his opponent split up. You know, GG. Warlock throws in the towel there, but yeah, Eshwar did well to both stop Warlock gathering here and then send army, and then as soon as he knew he had, he brought everything back just to help support the fight. So really smart there from Eshwar. More armory upgrades on the way as well. Warlock ultimately coming up lacking with production there. A lot in the queue, but not a lot left out in the field. Forced into early farms as well. GG. But that'll be it for tonight, guys. Unfortunately, we're going to have to call it because it's nearly 2 AM here. But thanks for tuning in.